Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube presentation. Today we got an amazing story for you about a superhero in the world of science. Is it Bruce Banner? Is it Tony Stark? Wrong! This is Finlay! But every hero has his nemesis. So grab your popcorn, sit back and get ready to be amazed.
Imagine a mysterious disease was killing thousands of people and you discovered how to prevent it, but no one believed you. That happened to me. Hi, I'm Dr. Carlos J. Finlay. In the 19th century, I worked as a physician and scientist, helping my country, Cuba, combat tropical diseases. In my laboratory in La Habana, I studied fiebre amarilla, or yellow fever. For some people, yellow fever is a lot like the flu. More severe cases can cause death. Most people thought that yellow fever spread through things like bad air, but I had a different idea. In 1881, I shared my hypothesis that yellow fever is transmitted by mosquitoes and explained that it transfers the disease from an infected person to a healthy person. Therefore, we should control mosquitoes and prevent their bites. My ideas were met with... But I continued working. Meanwhile, others tried and failed with more outrageous ideas. And still, more failure. 19 years later, the US Army confirmed my theory. Finally, my methods for preventing yellow fever were put into action. And they worked! To this day, thousands of lives have been saved. Of course, there are still many dangerous diseases that baffle us. Maybe you will have an amazing new idea that helps us understand them.
Before Finlay, what do you think were one of the crazy theories about the cause of yellow fever? A. Bad air, also called miasma. B. Angry swamp monsters. C. Mosquitoes. D. Not enough sleep. That's right! A. Bad air, also called miasma. As Carlos Finlay said, mosquitoes were the ones responsible for transmitting yellow fever. Which of the following species of mosquitoes do you think are the actual vectors of this disease? A. Proboscideus. B. Aedes communis. C. Aedes aegypti. D. All type of mosquitoes. That's right! Aedes aegypti. In the past, yellow fever was causing big problems in Africa and the Americas. It probably got to the New World through the slave trade. Many cities around the world were hit hard with scary symptoms like yellow skin and bleeding. Doctors were puzzled. They had no clue what was causing it. They were trying weird things like bloodletting and purgatives. They even thought that it was caused by bad air or inanimate objects like a chair. Quarantines didn't work and everyone was scared. But in the 1870s, Finlay, a Cuban doctor, noticed something interesting. Whenever the mosquito population increased, so did the cases of yellow fever. Started thinking that maybe the mosquitoes were the ones spreading the disease. So in 1881, Finlay got the chance to share his ideas. He was invited to speak at the Sanitary Commission of Washington, D.C. There, he made a bold claim. Guys, you're not gonna believe me. The mosquitoes are the ones that transmit the yellow fever. They disregarded Finlay's work. Remember, nobody believed him. They were trying to find kind of an organism causing this disease. Of course, they didn't find it. But eventually, they turned into Finlay's research, and of course they went to ask him some questions. But when Reed was back into Washington, D.C., Dr. Leiter, a doctor from Reed's commission, began experimenting with mosquitoes on human volunteers. But sadly, he contracted yellow fever and died. When Reed was back, he reviewed Leiter's material and continued the experiment with human volunteers. He placed some volunteers in a room full of mosquitoes that have already fed in infected patients, and the other volunteers were placed in a room full of vomit and blood from infected patients. Yuck. Guess who got sick? The patient is the mosquito room. Often, Dr. Reed is the one that gets the credit for discovering the vector of yellow fever, but he always acknowledged that he couldn't have done it without Carlos Finlay's work. After putting into action Carlos Finlay's plans to reduce the population of these mosquitoes, and with that reducing the yellow fever cases in Cuba, and with that, he was finally viewed as a hero. He was nominated 7 times to the Nobel Prize of Physiology, and finally, he concluded his career as the chief of the sanitary officer in Cuba. It is good to know that after all, he received the recognition that he deserved, don't you think?
In fact, I do. But what about the mosquito? Mosquitoes. We all hate them. But what's worse than a mosquito? A deadly one. But first, what is yellow fever? Yellow fever is a serious viral disease transmitted primarily by mosquitoes. But who is the main culprit? Aedes aegypti. Let's dive into the details. Aedes aegypti is one of the primary vectors for yellow fever. But remember this mosquito is not only responsible for yellow fever, he also spreads dengue, Zika, malaria, and many more. How lovely. And yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Yellow fever is a deadly virus, blah blah, who cares? This is important. How is transmitted? Well, this disease is transmitted in 3 cycles. First, the sylvitic and jungle cycle, when mosquitoes infect humans that enter the forest. Next, the urban cycle. In this case, the mosquito spreads to urban areas, so pay close attention because this can lead to significant outbreaks. The savanna cycle. Let's be real, who cares about that? You don't live in a savanna, but it's for your information only. This leads the infection through a savanna. Now that we know where can you find them? What makes them so good at being so deadly? Because these mosquitoes are day feeders and they thrive during this hour. They have a strong preference for blood. In a step to control the environment, we need to eliminate breeding sites, use repellent, and vaccinate often.
Donc dans un premier temps, on a le pulvérisateur qui fait une pulvérisation résiduelle sur les murs, intérieur, extérieur, plafond, pour que le moustique, quand il vient, il se pose dans la maison, il s'empoisonne et il meurt. Le deuxième, le fumigateur, il envoie un nuage de fumée, on dirait de la fumée, c'est des fines gouttelettes qui se répandent dans l'atmosphère. Et là, le but, c'est de tuer le moustique pendant ses heures de vol. Le dernier, c'est pour tuer les larves. Le moustique pond dans l'eau. Quand on a des petites surfaces, on les vide. Quand on a une grande étendue, l'idée, c'est d'envoyer donc pareil un peu un nuage de gouttelettes qui va se répandre à la surface de l'eau, qui va faire une pellicule d'insecticide à la surface et qui va tuer toutes les larves.
The challenge is huge in a big city like Kinshasa. So what we try to do is we focus on the places where we know we have cases that are proven to be infected while they were here. We do a perimeter of 200 meters around these strategical areas, and we do all the components of the vector control, chemical and mechanical. We go around the houses of the cases, schools, markets. We also do around medical facilities. By focusing on these areas, we try to shut down the transmission.
In summary, Aedes aegypti can be really pesty. However, if we take into consideration what we learned today about his history and how to stay clear of his disease, we're gonna be just fine. Thank you for watching.